Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravadrantam Anupetya Apetya Kutyam Dvapayano Virha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Taravo Binedus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanatusmi Narayanam Namaskritya Nadam Chaivanarottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshai Kiptascha Kamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prabhana Brande Namaste Sharanada Vendam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we are going to continue hearing the beautiful Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata, the prayers of Jagai and Madhai, in gratitude to Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're going to first offer our most humble obeisance under the lotus feet of our beloved gurus unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Lila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Lila Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and to our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga and the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. So, okay, continue on. They've offered many beautiful prayers, and they're both, too, Lord Nityananda and Mahaprabhu together, right? Inseparable. Nityananda Prabhu, as we have mentioned, Swayam Prakash, the very immediate expansion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his chief, I don't know if you call him an Anga, I don't know if that's appropriate. I mean, he is the one who fulfills the desire of Mahaprabhu to propagate this mission, this beautiful teaching throughout the universe. Mahaprabhu, in the latter part of his pastimes, was concerned with internally experiencing these deep moods of devotion, right? This is his primary purpose in coming as Mahaprabhu, and the external reason is to, of course, propagate the beauty of Braj Prem. The two are actually interlinked. We've spoken about this before. You can't separate one from the other, right? But still, in terms of Leela and pastime, after some time, he didn't leave Puri. At one point, he left Puri for 6 years, and everywhere he went, he was also distributing Prem to everyone, Gora Prem, Braj Prem. But when he came back, of course, there was the Rath Yatra ceremony, and many beautiful things were going on there. But Nityananda Prabhu is the one who took this message not only initially throughout Nadia and Navadvip, but when Mahaprabhu went to Puri, all over. In fact, he told them, sometimes don't even come to Rath Yatra. Everybody else is coming, but you don't come. You continue to travel and preach. And it was by the desire of Nityananda that Jagai and Madhai become delivered, because he was the, the manifestation of the compassion of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is Krishna embodying the compassion of Srimati Radhika, and And Nityananda Prabhu represents the agent for that compassion. And in this way, he is Akhanda Guru Tattva. He is the origin of the principle of Guru. Guru, those personalities empowered to come and give this to the conditioned souls everywhere. And according to their free will, as they like, even without consideration, who's qualified and who's not. So now Jagai and Madhai, the most apparently unqualified, have been offering their prayers. And this one now is to Nityananda. Jaya Raja Pandit Duhita Praneshvara, Jaya Nityananda Kripamaya Kalevara. All glories to the beloved Lord of the Raj Pandit's daughter. All glories to Nityananda, whose body is filled with compassion. How do they know this? I mean, they didn't have any connection with Nityananda and Mahaprabhu prior to this. And now they're glorifying him with knowledge of, the parents of his wives, because it was mentioned earlier, Mahaprabhu instilled in their hearts full realization and ability to pray appropriately. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Prabhupada explains this prayer. The prayer again, all glories to the beloved Lord of the Raj Pandit's daughter. All glories to Nityananda, whose body is filled with compassion. So, in his purport, he explains, Sri Sanatan Mishra took birth in the family of Raj Pandits. Poets headed by Jayadev, the author of Sri Gita Govinda, were renowned as Raj Pandits. Lakshmi Devi, the daughter in the family of Raj Pandits, incarnated to serve Sri Sri Gaur Narayan. On seeing Sri Gaur Narayan's display, I'm sorry, I got this mixed up. This is to both Mahaprabhu and to Nityananda, right? I skipped ahead in the purport and misconstrued. The Lord of the Raj Pandit's daughter is Mahaprabhu, and then Nityananda. Nityananda is also the Lord of of the daughter of a very high-placed Pandit as well. But in this case, he's explaining, who is this Raj Pandit? Lakshmi Devi, that's the first wife of Mahaprabhu. So Lakshmi Devi, the daughter in the family of Raj Pandits, incarnated to serve Sri Sri Gaur Narayan. On seeing Sri Gaur Narayan's display of Vipralamba, rather than opulence, Sri Lakshmi could not remain steady. In order to serve the Lord's Vipralamba pastime, she abandoned all the opulence of Vaikuntha and manifested a mood of subordination to Lord Chaitanya's feelings of separation in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. In order to demonstrate that the feelings of separation, which enhance the concept of conjugal pastimes, that Lord Krishna exhibited in his Gaur pastimes, are supremely relevant for unfortunate people, Gaura Sundar became the life and soul of the Raj Pandit's daughter. May those pastimes be glorified. The knowledge manifested from the words of various languages derived from base languages like Brahmi, Koroshti, Shanki, and Pushkarashadi fades in the presence of Vidvadruti. In other words, realization, transcendental realization. Thirst for material enjoyment entraps the living entities in nescience and turns them away from the Lord's service. But transcendental poets like Sri Jayadev, in the beginning of his Gita Govinda, which deals with 8 subjects, have revealed unfolding considerations regarding the relationship between the energies born in their families with the energetic. Okay, so this is a very deep purport. Lakshmi was the first wife of Mahaprabhu. And we get a very extraordinary insight into her identity and the mood in her service. Because the mood between Mahaprabhu and his wife, whether it be Lakshmi or later on his second wife, Vishnupriya, he was all of that time manifesting a mood of deep detachment from ordinary material things. Lakshmi Devi was his wife while he was still manifesting his scholarly pastimes. But when his desire to manifest and reveal his devotional sentiments was becoming stronger, he did go to East Bengal, which we know as Bangladesh now, and there, under the guise of a teacher and a scholar, he was also spreading his mercy. And people were flocking to him because of his reputation as a scholar. And they had heard that anyone who studies from him for 1 month will actually achieve the results of studying from someone else for 12 years, right? He was such an extraordinary teacher. And so people came to him for different reasons, but what happened was that they followed the etiquette of hearing from him as a teacher and giving gift to him as a teacher, but this ended up awakening, in many, many cases, their own love of God. They didn't realize this would be the result, but this was the result, and what happened as a consequence, many, many followed him back to Navadvip and became his students there. So under the guise of teaching grammar and logic and everything else, he was actually beginning his teachings of love of God, right? And Lakshmi had been his wife before he left, and when he was gone, her own moods of separation were so intense, she left her body. She couldn't do it anymore. Right? She just left her body. And Saraswati Prabhupada explains that she took on an extraordinary position. She's Lakshmi, in other words, the consort of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha, the consort of Lord Krishna in his form of Narayan, and she comes to serve him in that mood of separation, to teach that separation is a very important complementary component of love of God. Right? And that we see in Mahaprabhu's Leela that actually this separation is so extraordinary. It nourishes the mood of meeting, and in many cases it exceeds in separation the sense of meeting, and the pleasure derived from that can even exceed the pleasure of direct meeting. It's a very high concept, because sometimes then people will conclude, then what's the purpose of meeting? We should only have separation. But separation nourishes meeting, and when they meet, then that pleasure exceeds the experience of separation. Now they've met, and now that pleasure is so amazing, and it was nourished and stimulated by that prolonged separation, that meeting. But yet, in meeting, that becomes enhanced by, again, the thought that separation might happen again, and when it does happen, right? And why do they yearn in separation? What are they yearning for? They're yearning for meeting. The two are complementary parts of the same complete whole. If there was only separation or only meeting, it would not be so beautifully divine. But one of the words for separation is viraha, and viraha means special meeting, right? And so in that separation, and Krishna, in the pastime of Pavan Sarovara, where Madhu Mangal chases away the bumblebee that Radhika was afraid of, she's sitting on Krishna's lap, and the bumblebee is flying around her face, thinking that her face is so fragrant, it's like a flower. Madhu Mangal chases it away with a stick and comes back and says, Madhusudan has gone. I've chased him away. He will never return. Hearing those words, she becomes bewildered, and even though she's sitting on Krishna's lap, she begins to experience profound separation. This is a kind of state of mind which can only be experienced by Srimati Radhika. And it's prem vaichitya. It means kind of like the opposite, that even though she's directly with him, she's experiencing separation, right? And then Krishna sees this, and he becomes astonished by the nature of her love. That, oh my goodness, that even in my direct presence, she's feeling separation and she's feeling anxiety. And yet when I'm actually separated from her, she will experience a mood as if she's with me. And she'll see a tamal tree, a blackish tree, and she'll embrace it thinking it's me. She'll look up in the sky and see the dark cloud and think she's looking at me. She'll see the night, and those same moods will be awakened in her heart. So in separation, she's feeling meeting, and in meeting, she's feeling separation. This is an extraordinary condition. So I have to leave. Because if I leave, then their separation will be so intense that two things will happen. One, they will experience an extraordinary kind of love and a connection with me that is unparalleled and unique only to the gopis. Right? And there, even though it appears to be like poison, it will be a happiness which exceeds all other kinds of happiness. And in the eyes of the world, then they will see with no doubt that the gopis are actually the most beloved of Krishna. So here, that same kind of extraordinary sacrifice that she abandons, Lakshmi, the opulence and constant association of Lord Narayan, to serve as a humble Brahmani and to serve the pastimes of Gaura and nurturing his separation from Krishna. And it's described, it's kind of like a husband and wife. They have a conjugal relationship, but when they're serving the deity, they abandon that relationship, and she becomes the simple servant of he who is performing the worship of the deity. So Mahaprabhu was always serving Krishna. Even while he was in scholarly pastimes, internally, he was always serving in that way. And so he was detached. And yet, he was also still distributing love, because in the household pastimes, Lakshmi would cook, Mahaprabhu would invite guests, and serve them out with his own hand, 20 people a day. Beggars, sannyasis, all kinds of people they would invite, and they would be given the prasadam, cooked by Lakshmi herself, and offered and served by the hand of Mahaprabhu himself. And in this way, they would get to taste extraordinary prem and be in the association of the most divine, most attractive personality. And feelings of love of God would be awakened, even though he's not teaching that apparently directly, but by giving his association in this form, he was still spreading it, still doing this, because he was always internally absorbed in the highest states of bhav. And so she is serving him in that way, right? So her father was a Raj Pandit, means a Pandit to the king, right? Such a qualified personality. So, Sahi Jaya Prabhu Tumi Jatta Karakaj, Jaya Nityananda Chandra Vaishnava Diraj. All glories to all the activities of the Lord. All glories to Nityananda Chandra, the emperor of the Vaishnavas. Purport. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the emperor of the Vaishnavas. Pure Vaishnavas are always eager to serve the Lord in the mood of separation. Let's read this whole purport. That's a powerful statement. Pure Vaishnavas are always eager to serve the Lord in the mood of separation. By displaying the ideal example of serving Krishna in his pastimes of searching for Krishna, in other words, serving Mahaprabhu, who is searching for Krishna, Sri Nityananda Prabhu has achieved domination over Lord Gaurasundar. No one has ever distributed such mercy on the Gaudiyas as Sri Nityananda has in his pastimes of awarding the ecstatic love for Krishna that was distributed by the munificence of Sri Chaitanya. By his mercy, there is a ray of hope that the living entities of this material world may become qualified for the service of Lord Gaurasundar's intimate associates, like Sri Gadadhar, Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatan, Sri Sarup, and Sri Raghunath. The activities of relishing the holy names by Vaishnavadiraj Nityananda, who is Patiyachi Namahate Jivarakaran. He set up a marketplace for distributing the holy names to the living entities. Distinguish him as the Acharya. Let him be repeatedly glorified. So we constantly hear Nityananda's identity as the principle of Guru, the complete conception of Guru manifested. Why? Because he is serving the Lord, assisting the Lord in his mood of separation. He's also serving the Lord in separation himself. That everyone wanted to be with Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, although in Nadia, in Navadvip, during that time he was with him. But other than that, then he would travel and preach. And sometimes he would go to Puri, but also he would be traveling. And this is actually, pure Vaishnavas are always eager to serve the Lord in the mood of separation by displaying the ideal example of serving Krishna and his pastimes of searching for Krishna. Sri Nityananda Prabhu has achieved domination over Lord Gaurasundar. So he is serving the Lord, who's in separation, but he's also serving in separation himself, sometimes with him, sometimes not. And this is also instructive for us. And both our Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj have stressed over and over that service to Sri Guru teaches this same principle, that Guru is there in Vapu and he's there in Vani. He can be served in his physically manifest form, or he can be served through his instructions. But both have said and demonstrated that service by instruction is higher. It's higher than service directly. I've heard Srila Prabhupada say this, I've heard Srila Gurudev say that. And if you let that sink deeply in your heart and try to adopt that, it's a great discipline, because in the direct presence of a Mahabhagavat, everybody feels happy. Everybody is enlivened, right? But also in that joy, there can be a sense of enjoying the Guru. I want to be with Guru because he makes me laugh. I want to be with my Guru because he praises me, right? I want to be with Guru because there's always a big feast, there's always a festival or whatever, or he's acknowledging me, directly. I'm confident, I'm happy, I'm hearing Hari Katha, I'm becoming purified. Surely this is the path. But they have said that if you have faith in the instruction of Guru and you can follow that, they consider that much higher, because that is a real connection, like Nityananda, taking up wholeheartedly the mission and purpose of Lord Chaitanya, which is to distribute and share the munificence that exists in the heart of the Lord. Sri Guru is empowered. This is described so beautifully in Madhurya Kadambini, how the most important Shakti of the Lord, his Karuna Shakti, is invested in the heart of the Mahabhagavat. That compassion. And what is the source of that compassion? It's coming from Nityananda Prabhu, it's coming from Mahaprabhu. It resides completely in Srimati Radhika. Mahaprabhu has it because Krishna is covered and imbued with that compassion, right? And Nityananda, therefore, has that same quality. And that quality is coming, it's traveling in the heart of Guru. And whoever wants to serve Sri Guru, who tries to surrender, Guru is so gentle, so merciful, so kind, they'll flood us with that mercy, right? Like here, no one has ever distributed such mercy on the Gaudiyas as Sri Nityananda has in his pastimes of awarding the ecstatic love for Krishna that was distributed by the munificence of Sri Chaitanya. Our gurus are all representatives of Nityananda. And then what happens, by his mercy, there is a ray of hope that the living entities of this material world may become qualified for what? For the service of Lord Gaurasundar's intimate associates, right? So not just service to the Lord, but even higher, a service to his associates, like Sri Gadadhar, Sri Rup, Sri Sanatan, Sri Swarup, and Sri Raghunath. In other words, to enter into the Leela of Mahaprabhu himself and serve his most dear. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, 11th canto, if one who says he's my devotee, he's not as much a devotee as one who is the devotee of my devotee. That person is really my devotee. One time, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur was traveling on an extended parikram throughout India, and they were traveling in South India. And we've mentioned this before, but this is an important story. And in one place, they were encouraged to meet this great, great Vaishnava, because South India is a repository. From South India, Bhakti emerged in the Kali Yuga from South India. And there are very strong traditions of Bhakti still. It's predominated by followers of the Sri Sampradaya and followers of Sri Madhvacharya. And so this was considered a great devotee, and he was a devotee of Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati met with him, and they had a prolonged conversation. And of course, they were talking many scholarly topics. The man was very learned in Bhagavatam, spoke very eloquently. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada asked him a question. He said, under whose guidance do you serve Lord Krishna? He says, I am not under guidance, I serve directly. And after some time they ended and they left, and the devotees' disciples asked Saraswati Prabhupada, what did you think of him? Because externally he manifested all these great symptoms. He is very disciplined, very self-controlled, very learned, very strict in sadhana and everything. He said, completely bogus. Why? Because he's not in anugatya. Nobody serves Krishna directly. Everybody serves in anugatya. Srimati Radhika is the person through whom everyone serves, and then by her expansions, her Ashtasakis, the different groups of gopis, those in Vatsalya serving under the direction and guidance of Mother Jashoda, and Nanda Baba, Rohini Ma, and those in Sakya serving under Subal, Sridham, all the different groups there. To think that you're serving directly, complete misunderstanding of the sweetness of the Leela in Braj. And so he's saying, by the mercy of Nityananda, there's a ray of hope that we may become qualified to enter into this Leela. So when we're praying for service, we want to pray to be in the service of these personalities. When we see our Guru, we want to serve our Gurus in Mahaprabhu's Leela. They're associates of Mahaprabhu. And Rupa. Srila Prabhupada said, we are Rupanugas. This is not a general statement, we follow the philosophy of Rupa Goswami. We're Rupanugas. We are in the association of Rupa Goswami. In Vrindavan, in Navadvip, in Puri, wherever he was, we are following in that way. They have that relationship, and we want that. And Nityananda set up a marketplace to teach us the chanting of the holy name and to inspire us in the service, anugatya, of our Guru Varga. Jaya Jaya Shankha Chakra Gada Padma Dhar Prabhuda Vigraha Jaya Avadutavar. All glories to the Lord who holds the conch, disc, club, and lotus. All glories to the best of the Avaduts, who is none different from the Lord. All glories to Gaurachandra, the life of Advaita. All glories to the thousand-headed Nityananda. All glories to the life and soul of Gadadhar and the Lord of Murari. All glories to the benefactor of Haridas and Vasudeva. So they're continuing on now, glorifying him more and more, not just as the Lord of the universe, the Lord of all creation, the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Lord of Vrindavan, but the Lord of the hearts of all these great devotees. This pleases the Lord the most, to hear about him in relationship to his devotees, because this is the whole purpose of all creation. The Lord and his devotees exist for the sole purpose of exchanging love, competing to give love. I was listening to Gurudev speaking on Gopi Geet and the prayers of the gopis, and Krishna hiding in the bushes to hear their expressions of love for him. And because they have a desire to be with him, he has a desire to be with them. Right? It's described in the science of love, in the science of rasa, that generally the desire for union exists first in the heart of the female, and then the male. But the female won't make the first move. She may and may not even express it. The first move has to be made by the male. So the devotees, the gopis have this deep mood of love, but generally in the Leela, especially with Srimati Radhika, they'll disguise it behind man, anger, dismissal of Krishna, some jealousy, refusal to meet with him, or shyness, but they're expressing it nonetheless in indirect statements, in indirect actions, which are clearly read by Krishna. And why are they expressing it? Because they know this is what Krishna wants. How do they know? Has he expressed it directly? He's expressed it by his glances, right? And so many other ways. This is all in those prayers in the Gopi Geet. And Krishna becomes stimulated hearing these prayers, and then he has to rush to be with them. And then to be with them, he wants to serve them, and they want to serve him. So we're getting that opportunity to awaken love for not just Mahaprabhu, but for the service of those who give him so much pleasure. What could be more glorious than that? And we know that that's true because we know how happy and wonderful it is in the environment, in the association of a collection of devotees, how happy we become serving them. How wonderful it is to serve Vaishnavas, putting on a festival, cooking for them, serving them in so many ways, handing out prasad, offering cloth, and exchanging confidences, right? To be with devotees is the greatest pleasure, right? To be away from devotees is the greatest unhappiness. When Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy, what is the most unhappy, unfortunate thing in this world? He says, I only know one unhappiness. What is that? Separation from devotees. Right? So, all glories to the life and soul of Gadadhar. He's being described, the life and soul of Gadadhar, the Lord of Murari, right? Murari Gupta, Hanuman. All glories to the benefactor of Haridas, Lord Brahma, and Vasudeva, Prahlad, Vasudev Dutt, Prahlad Maharaj. You have delivered numerous sinful persons in your various incarnations. This is glorified throughout the world as most wonderful. By delivering us too, however, your past glories have been minimized. Even the glories of delivering Ajamil have been minimized by delivering us. As fallen as Ajamil was, it wasn't as fallen as these two. We are not flattering you, we are speaking the truth. Ajamil was actually fit for liberation. Kokti Brahmavadi Jadi Tavanama Loya Sadhya Moksha Paratara Vede Satyakaya. This is a long purport. This is going to be a big discussion about Ajamil from the 6th canto. I'll just read this verse. It is stated in the Vedas that a person who has killed millions of brahmanas immediately attains liberation if he chants your name. And then the next verse they say, such a name was vibrated by Ajamil, so his deliverance was not very wonderful. You incarnate to establish the truth of the Vedas. If you do not deliver the living entities, then the words of the Vedas become false. Yet we have harmed the body of your associate, and still you have delivered both of us. Oh Lord, just see how much difference there is between you and us two. He's going to go on. They're going to explain. It was quite remarkable that Ajamil was delivered by Namabas. And that is described, especially in the first 2 chapters of the 6th canto. And then in Yamaraja's discussion with his adutas, the Yamadutas, when they go back to him and say what happened. We were trying to take this Ajamil, and then these Vaikuntha personalities came and didn't allow us. What's happened? And so much discussion of the glories of the holy name is there, the power even of Nambas. But Ajamil actually chanted the names of the Lord. What did Jagai and Madhai do? They hadn't done any of that. They weren't chanting. They were dancing and mocking, but they weren't chanting. And then they actually struck Nityananda. And despite all this, they were delivered. And so there's going to be a very detailed discussion on that by Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Prabhupada, which we can thus do completely all at once tomorrow. Okay, so we shall therefore stop here and offer our obeisances to our Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Gurudev, who are our representatives of Sri Gadadhar, Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatan, right? Sri Nityananda Prabhu, our Guru Varga, to Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Remember, we want to serve the servants of our gurus, right? That will give us some appreciation. If we can actually develop in our hearts appreciation for the association and service of the, not just Guru, but the associates of Guru, then we're making some progress. If we run away from that, we're just, not understanding properly. We're cheating ourselves, actually, cheating ourselves. So we even may have had, I run into this constantly, because when Srila Prabhupada left, there was a big diaspora, right? And devotees were going everywhere. And there were many things that were done to different devotees that were inappropriate, and some hard feelings developed, and some separation, this group, that group formed, and sometimes hard feelings prevail over a long time. But in old age, what is the purpose of holding on to these kind of feelings when you can actually be much happier by instead, when you see somebody not thinking about, what they said, what they did, this and that, just look to, but they're doing this service. Look, they're doing that service. After all these years, they have faith, they're serving. They're so glorious. I wish I was glorious like them. Much healthier, happier mentality. You may still associate with this person or this group, that group, but don't hold hard feelings and grudges. Always look to the best in the hearts of everyone. That's what our gurus do. And we have so many stories to support that concept. Okay, so Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Hari Bo.